Hi, CEO. Leonardo Chino from Liga GG. Congratulations for the victory first. Despite today's result, it's clear that Cade has points to need attention. How do you believe the next series will be against Red, who presented a very constant game, and how you will work to beat him in the next series?
I think our biggest problem so far has been mental, by far. Being ready to play on the first game and having the mental resilience to reset between each game is not an easy thing to do. And I think the same thing happened 2 times now, against Pain and against Lost today. But we managed to pull off the victory today, which means the boys are growing. The number one priority for us is going to be ensuring that we have good practice for the next week and ensuring that we have a lot of attention towards being prepared mentally for these BO5s, because we tend to start playing from game 3 onwards, and then it's so punishing. From a draft perspective, the coaching staff and I felt like we were in a good spot all 5 games. And a lot of these games actually came up in our mock game days of our training. So yeah, obviously a very, very disappointing performance all around. But then again, I think the mental resilience of the players is something to be celebrated. So that will be our focus going into the next week.
Good night, Pedro from Agente. Last week, it was the same script. You start losing 2-0, and today, what was the difference between these games?
I think the only game that we really played our game was in game 5 today. It's never easy playing from 2-0 down. I think the week before last we had really poor practice. I think the pressure was getting to everyone, and we didn't deal with it in the best way. So for this week, we really focused on making sure that we had good practice, and I think we did achieve that. Then again, but even then, I still think we really struggled playing our best game from the first game onwards, and we put ourselves in positions where it's so difficult to play. I think most teams in this position, 2-0 down, would just lose. So I think the fact that we're able to claw back this close in both series just shows that we have a really strong fundamental understanding of the game in terms of how we play the map. Today, Lost had the better of us for sure. We should have lost after game 4. But we just managed to dance around the map in the right way, and the enemy team blundered a lot. So yeah, very lucky. But yeah, I guess the main focus was to get better training, and we achieved that this week.
Hello, I'm Thais from iSports, and I want to know, what do you think is happening with Cade that the series is so difficult? Always going to the 5th game. What do you think is affecting the team?
Well, first of all, I just want to remind people that we weren't a team that was anticipated to come first place in the regular season. So I think a lot of people are confused and put us as some extremely unbeatable Exodia team or something like that. But the truth is, during the regular season, it's a best of 1. So if you manage to get good drafts throughout the season, you can clutch some wins that you may potentially not deserve. For example, I think in the Pain Loud series, in both BO1s at the end and the final week, we had such a big draft difference that it was so difficult for those teams to play against us, and we managed to clutch those wins. And that's really kind of been the story throughout the split. We've been focusing primarily on fundamentals. I think in competition, you compete to win no matter what, and that's what we're here to do. But it's also really a little bit absurd for people to forget what this project really is, which is a long-term project focused on developing our players, our environment, and our mindset. And developing an athlete mindset doesn't happen in 1, 2, 3 months. In fact, I think most of the players there in our team, actually, I would say every player is so far from the ideal athlete and the top athletes, even in esports, that I've seen so far. And it's years and years of bad habits from either poor coaching staff, poor discipline, or poor knowledge. And that's something that we're really trying to change. So Z, our psychologist back there, is really assisting us in changing our mindset and ensuring that our nutritionist team, our Leonardo, my physio guy, all these people are changing this step by step, and that we're really focusing on the big picture and ensuring that we have a really strong foundation. The final thing is, if you look at all of our players, they were molded to be in a developmental environment. And part of that includes struggles with the pressure and having inefficient training, just because they don't know just yet how to deal with it in the best way, interpersonal relationships and having best training. I mean, I think it's a very complex question, but, TLDR, too long. If it's too long for you, I think we're here to win, we're trying to win, and I think that's what we should do. But we're also here to develop a long-term process. And, winning with a team that was built this year with, let's be frank, not the mechanically most gifted players is not an easy task. We didn't really hire any champions. We hired people that are trying to be champions, and that's really a part of our goal.
I have one question from journalists in Press Room in Discord. Julia Gabriela from Geek Pop News. Good evening, Sil. Congratulations for the victory. VKS played a great game. Regarding Veigar's pick, what was the biggest reason for choosing the champion for the mid lane?
I mean, it's just good into the enemy team. I think the lane matchup is quite easy to play. I think that we understood some things during the series and the adaptation, some things that they were doing to allow this pick to happen in the first place. It's similar to Kog'Maw Braum. It's something that we've practiced and we knew had good success. Last week, unfortunately, we missed a ban, which was Jinx. But what people don't understand also in that series was it was a last-minute adaptation. So the original plan was to open Kalista, and we knew that they would pick Kalista, and we would pick Kog'Maw into the Kalista. So this was the matchup we were comfortable on. But then what ended up happening was we decided against it last second from multiple sources of feedback. And then, when you adapt in the moment and you have less time to prepare, sometimes you miss these bans. It happens. But yeah, Veigar was just one of those things that we had practiced. We knew has a spot in the draft. We knew that Envy also played it, so in solo queue. So that's why it came out.